Tonight on America's Hope, we focus on preserving faith, family, and freedom in a world of politics and so much more. America's Hope starts now. From the NTD Global Headquarters in New York, I'm Kelly Wright, and this is America's Hope. Good evening. Thank you for joining us this hour. We're glad that you're here. And wherever you are, we do hope that you're safe and well, taking care of yourself and your family because you matter. Speaking of what matters, faith, family, freedom. Three elements of the foundation of America: faith, family, freedom. And in a world of politics, sometimes those particular three elements that are substantive to Americans' way of life, well, sometimes they can be challenged. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We'll talk about politics. We'll talk about what's going on in the classroom. We'll also focus on what's happening with the death penalty and how that factors in as well. We have Demetrius Minor joining us to discuss that. And we also have Sam Sorbo, the actress as well as filmmaker, joining us. And then later on in the show, we'll introduce you to a new movie that's coming out. We'll show you the trailer of The American Miracle. It's a movie about America's founding and how we treasured, even with the founding of America, faith, family, and freedom. Ralf Augstroze will stop by to talk to us about that. Let's get started. My next guest is Demetrius Minor. He's written a book called Preservation and Purpose: The Making of a Young Millennial, a manifesto for faith, family, and politics. We're going to get into that. Also, Demetrius is the national manager of conservatives concerned about the death penalty. He is a preacher and minister at Tampa Life Church in Tampa, Florida. He's also an advocate, a relationship builder, and a writer working to educate and mobilize conservatives around the systematic flaws with the death penalty system. Demetrius, good of you to join us this hour. I first want to start with you talking about your book, The Manifesto for Millennials, about faith and family. It seems to be very important to discuss that, particularly given the time that we're in right now with the politics swirling about, where there's divisiveness in our families, in our homes, based on political lines and racial lines. Talk to me about that, please.
Well, thank you, Kelly, for having me on your show. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. The reason why I wrote the book was because at the time I felt that there was a vacuum of leadership that was present, and that it was incumbent upon myself and millennials and the generations that will come after me to present themselves as available to take upon the mantle of leadership. There were certain events that occurred in my life that compelled me to share the book, one of which was the revelation of my adoption at the age of 28. And then also some events in my life that shaped who I am ministerially, spiritually, politically, and also culturally. And it's the intertwining of all those events together that I felt will make my testimony compelling, but also to provide me to be a voice to those who do not have a voice, and to encourage millennials to be more present, to be more active and involved in their communities.
You know, that's very good. And I guess that would also extend to Generation Z. What's your message to them about preservation and purpose?
Absolutely. So my message is very simple. Each and every one of us have a purpose that was given to us by God, who is our creator. And that purpose allows us to be as creative and innovative as we desire to be. That purpose looks differently from each person to person. But they have purpose, they have dignity, and their voices is needed in the world. In a climate that is very toxic, intense, we need more voices that are going to be able to bring people together, that's more willing to bridge the divide that we so often see. And I believe that it's incumbent upon the current generation to present new ideas over archaic ideas, to present fresh vision over those that are entrenched in tradition. And again, to take upon that mantle of leadership that we so desperately need to see today.
You know, Demetrius, as a pastor of a church there in Tampa, you're likely to see an intergenerational um, chasm, if you will. How do you cross that and bring people together to understand that they can get along with their family members, they can exercise their faith, regardless of the political climate that they might be steeped in at home and outside of the house?
It's a great question. The church that I'm privileged to attend and serve in is multicultural. It is multi-generational. There's individuals there with vast backgrounds and political beliefs, and it's a reminder that we're here to serve the kingdom of God and not to serve a political kingdom of any other earthly kingdom. And so it's beautiful to see people coming together and worshiping together, and just to be an extension of Christ, to help out your fellow man, your fellow brother, your fellow sister in time of need. And it's also a reminder to me that it's what I see in my faith community is starkly different than the images or the narrative that sometimes the media likes to portray. And that's just because fear sells, negativity sells. But that's not all that I see on a daily basis. And so it's fresh to be joined together with believers with one common goal, sharing one common identity. And again, it's just a stark reminder to me what the purpose is all about.
You know, Demetrius, I'm glad you said that. You touched upon the media and the fear mongering that goes on, but it also goes on
Yeah.
from the candidates on both sides of the aisle that we've seen a lot of fear mongering out there to make people fearful instead of faithful about the direction our country is going in. And while people may disagree, isn't it important that we get conservatives and liberals, Democrats and Republicans and independents and freethinkers to start thinking that we can find some common ground in order to develop common good for the entire United States of America so that we're no longer acting as if we're a divided states of America?
I couldn't agree with you more. And a perfect example of that statement you just made. This previous weekend, I was serving on a panel in Orlando to talk about criminal justice reform. And right after that panel concluded, a young student came up to me and he said, I want to thank you for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. He said, I did not agree with everything you said, but I'm appreciative of the work that you do. And Kelly, it just reminded me of how great this nation is and the benefits of living in a free society to where we encourage those who think differently than us. We encourage those who have different perspectives. And again, the ability and the willingness to debate those indifferences in a very civil way is the beauty of this country. And so I would encourage your audience to remember that there's more that unites us than separate us. And that if we will be more willing to focus in on those commonalities, I believe that our nation and therefore the world will be in a better shape.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're enjoying this episode so far of America's Hope. If you'd like to see it in its entirety, just click on the link below. Thanks for watching.